Good evening, Flagler County. This is Crystal DeWind. I am here at the Hammock Beach Golf Resort and Spa, and I am here with Tony.
Yes, Tony Porcellini. I'm the Director of Food and Beverage here at the resort.
We're going to be talking a little bit about your
Food and Wine Classic.
Yes.
You know, we like to say that there's nothing sweeter than a repeater, so we're on year 2 with our Food and Wine Classic. And as you can see, we're got a lot of wine and a lot of fun stuff in the room.
Yes. So can you kind of give us a little background on what prompted you to start this Food and Wine Classic?
Absolutely. When you look throughout the areas of Florida, there's really some really great and cool food and wine events in every city. When you come up to northern Florida, there's not much. St. Augustine's trying one, but it's really not taking off too much. And there's nothing in Jax, there's nothing in Ponte Vedra. So we're like, you know what? It's time to start a premier food and wine event within northern Florida. And what better to do it than right on the ocean in a beautiful resort?
Mm-hmm. So how's the success been from year 1 to year 2?
Oh, you know what? It's like a baby. You watch her crawl, and then she's up and walking, and our baby's up and walking. Last year we crawled. It was one night only. We wanted to do 300 people. We did 250. This is year 2, 2 nights. We increased the wines. We have over 90 selections of wines here. We have a retail store this year. We are going 2 nights. We're going to do about 500 people in 2 nights. Next year, we grow it even bigger. Next year we shoot for 800 people. We'll probably add a golf event. We'll add a 5K on Saturday, and we'll add some great teaching events. So we'll do some really fun food and beverage seminars throughout the stay that people can be interactive within food and beverage. And that's kind of cool. You know, ever since the Food Network came out, people want to be interactive and they really want to learn about food and beverage. And we want to be able to be in there and teach them that. So super interactive and cool.
So can you give us a little behind the scenes of the process that it takes to design the menu and the wines for something like this?
You know what, it's so cool when it gets there. You know, I already said, you know, we're planning, September 17th will be our first planning meeting for 2025. So here we go. I mean, you can't let a baby like this sit down. So first of all, we want to get really high-end wines. We want to make sure that we have varietals from all over the country. We first do the wines because that's the most important thing for us, because that's what the people are coming here for. So we make sure that we really have a various amount of varietals, and we have really, really top-end wines. So, you know, Justin Reserve Cabs, Silver Oak, Alexander Valley, Dow, Foley Reserve, Chalk Hill Reserve Cab. I mean, top of the line wines across the board. And then we say, okay, what foods go with this? How do we make fun pairings? What can we do interactive? Because it's like bites, but it is a lot of food. So what we try to do at the resort is every one of our outlets, every one of our venues at the resort, we try to make them a signature dish. So Delfino's is represented, Atlantic Grill is represented, Banquets is represented, Pizza and Gelato is represented. So all of our venues here are represented there in their own food booth.
Okay. So can you explain a little how an event like this benefits the community at large here in
Absolutely. Again, food and wine is becoming its own little culture society. Mm-hmm. And when you can look at Destin, you can look at Miami, you can look at Orlando, and it's the food and wine learning society, and it's coming into the culture of it. It's bringing art into it, and it brings a lot more outside venues into this. And I think that's what really adds to the events and adds to the local, is the culture that it brings in, and the vast variety of people that brings into Palm Coast that probably never heard of this area before. And then they're coming into here and saying, wow, what a great place. This is really cool, and what an awesome event.
Okay. Can you explain to us how you help ensure that all of your guests and members have a memorable experience while they're here?
You know, that's an easy thing, because we'll sit around the table and we'll be like, any event we try to do, we're like, what are the wows? How do we create the wows? And we go out of our way to create the wows, whether it's a retail store, or whether it's a food item that we're making, or whether it's a secret, you know, drink that's being poured out there, whether it's Jefferson's or tequila. So we create the wows, and then you know what? It's being hands-on. It's being boots on the ground. You know, it's working the events. Last night we have all of our managers on the floor. We're interacting with our customers. And you know what? There's nothing better than getting firsthand information. And our customers last night were over the top wild. I mean, when people are coming up to you, and they were our members last night, congratulating you, shaking your hand, telling you what a great event, you know you killed it. And that's the greatest thing in food and beverage is, you know, if you don't know how you're doing in food and beverage, get involved, get in your restaurant, go table check like the old school. And when you kill it in food and beverage, it's just a great high five and an awesome feeling, and you know, you move on. And we killed it last night, and we can't wait for tonight.
All right. In your opinion, what are some of the key elements that help contribute to a successful festival?
I will tell you 3 major key elements. Entertainment. We have 2 types of entertainment. We have a soloist guitarist that is just off the chart good. And then a band that backs up so he goes off stage, the band comes on. So your entertainment needs to be top notch. Our entertainment is 100% top notch. The wines that you serve need to be upper end. People need to have the value for it. And food and wine, that Food and Wine Society knows that when they walk in the room and they start seeing labels like you see, Quilt and Foley all around the room, they're like, wow, this is unbelievable. This is a serious event. But then you have to make sure your food is just as quality as your wine. And you know what? If you kill those 3 components and you make it a fun vibe to be at, and I think that's the important thing, is creating that setting, creating that vibe, making that feeling that people want to be there. And I think we really wanted a street festival when we started these classics years ago, and we wanted to make it feel like a festival. The old time when you were a little kid and you went to a street festival, or when you were an adult and you went to a street festival, you enjoyed it. And that's why when you go into our ballroom, unfortunately we had to bring it in because of the weather, but you know, we were adamant about bringing the tents in and still making it go through different rooms, and so it's still a walk around. You don't want it to be a sit down, and it's so cool. We had 300 people in the ballroom last night. We had 105 seats, and it was great. No one was sitting. Everyone was walking around the way it should be. And that's really the most important components to a food and wine festival.
All right. Lastly, how do you measure the success of these events?
And again, you measure it by how people are reacting to it. And you know what? I always say there's nothing sweeter than a repeater, and you know, we did 200 last year. We're doing a little over 500 this year. Next year we're shooting for 800. We're going to start ticket sales in January.
Okay.
And I have no doubt that we're getting to 800. And you know what? When you do that, that's the success of it. And you know, honestly, when myself and our team are walking around on the floor and just hearing the comments we hear, it's great. And that's what makes you smile. And I think that's why we're all in this field of hospitality. It's instant gratification. I don't need somebody coming up to me, patting me on the back saying, nice job. Because you know what? I look at the 100 people that are walking out the door, giving me a high five and shaking my hand and say, wow, we had a great time. And it's just fantastic feeling. And that's why I love what I do.
Have you already picked a date for next year's?
We are going to focus on the same weekend, the weekend after Labor Day we're looking at. So we're kicking around a couple. It's either going to be that weekend or possibly the following weekend. But
so people can keep their eyes out for that weekend.
Yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And like I told you, September 17th, the brain trust of this hotel, and I mean, there's a lot of us. And I mean, we all squeeze in one room, and there's a lot of brains in that room. So we'll start meeting and decide what we're going to do. And by the end of September, we'll have it all on paper, and we'll start getting the word out probably sometime in October for 2025.
All right. Well, thank you so much for talking with us.
Totally enjoyed it.
Giving us the behind the scenes for this. Thank you guys for watching. You can find this video on our website, Facebook, and YouTube.
Awesome. Ciao.
Ta-da. Hi, Woody. Thank you so much for talking with us.
My
today.
pleasure.
So
absolutely.
What is your position here at the Hammock Beach Golf Resort and Spa?
Yeah, so I'm Woody Mitchell. I'm the Assistant Food and Beverage Director here at Hammock Beach.
Okay, and what do you oversee when it comes to like the Hammock Beach Food and Wine Classic? What is your role in this event?
Gosh, my role is all the preparation that goes into the event, the planning of the event, helping pick out the wines, organizing all of our vendors, organizing the entertainment, organizing all the food areas. I do all of the planning and try to organize where everything's going to go so it works out seamlessly for our members and guests.
All right, can you talk about the staff preparations and how much work goes into actually getting all of your staff ready? I know you've got probably a lot of
Sure.
different departments that
Absolutely.
are having to work together here.
Yeah, absolutely. And then with an event this size, you need everybody, right? This is not an event that one person, two people, five people can even put together on their own. So we need everybody's input. So we start planning as far out in a year in advance. As Tony mentioned, September 17th is going to be the first meeting that we have to plan 2025, because it really does take that long to put an event on of this caliber. We have 8 different restaurants at the property, and we also have a banquet and catering department, and we will use every single one of them. We have 10 food tents tonight, so every single outlet has a job, has a function. And we sit and we talk to them about what the vision is, what we want this event to be, what this Food and Wine Classic means to us, and what we want it to mean to the surrounding area. So a lot of thought and passion goes into what we're preparing. So we talk about what we're going to serve, how we're going to serve it, how we're going to display it, how are we going to get people to just be amazed at what they're walking into, seeing everything in front of their eyes. From a front of house perspective, we work with our service staff months out, saying, this is how many people we're expecting to come. This is where they're coming from. This is what they're going to expect when they come to this property. And for some of our resort guests, it's going to be the first time they're here at this property. So wow, what a chance to make a first impression. It's very important to us. So we have to be on our game. We have to know what we're talking about. We need to know a little bit about the wineries that we're representing. And we also need to be prepared to answer any questions that guests or members might have about the property and about all of our different restaurants and what they can expect here at Hammock Beach.
So when you're doing all of those staff preparations, are you doing like almost class style, where you're explaining, the event, what
Sure.
all the different things you're going to be offering from wines and foods? Are you
Sure.
sitting down and doing it?
It's a lot of sit down conversations, and it's really about casting vision, what our vision is for this event. We do trainings all year long. Tony and I are very passionate about wine, and we're very passionate about food and beverage in general, and just learning more about the industry, learning more about hospitality. So we'll teach wine classes, spirits classes, food classes all year long. But for this type of event, it's really about casting the vision. If everybody is walking out there with the same mindset of what this event means to us and what we want it to mean to the community, that's the most important. And that's really just creating that atmosphere, creating that welcoming experience, and creating that just an incredible vibe when you're walking out the doors.
All right, and lastly, can you tell us about how many staff members you have here present working this
Sure.
event?
Yeah, leading up to it, like I said, we're using every department we have on property. We're pulling in rooms, we're pulling in reservations, we're pulling in housekeeping, we're pulling in engineering, sales and marketing, obviously food and beverage. We need to pull everybody in to make an event like this happen. When it comes to the actual day of the event, we'll have 18, 20, 25 people just in the front of house. We'll probably have, we have 20 different chefs, culinarians working tonight. Every manager is on duty. Every salary chef is on call. It takes an absolute army to put something like this together.
Well, I can't wait to see how it all plays out tonight. Thank you so very much
Yes,
for
my pleasure.
explaining that. Thank you all for watching.
Cheers.